Hi, welcome to Rulebook RX. I'm Dee, and I'm going to be reviewing rulebooks for board games and anything else that comes with a rulebook. Today, I'm going to be talking about Chronicles of Crime 2400. This is one of the more futuristic styles of the Chronicles of Crime series. It's my first one that I ever got, and I was kind of curious to see how the rulebook would work because this is an app-assisted game. So I'm going to be reviewing the rulebook itself, which has the graphic designer of Katarzyna Kosubaka. I don't know if I'm saying that right at all, but hopefully I am. But I'm going to be taking a look at this and the app just to kind of get an idea of, does this work? Was I able to learn how to play the game? Did I have any thoughts on the layout of the rulebook? Did I have to use Rodney Smith in order to learn how to play the game? I'm going to take a look at the table here. I'll show you guys all about this rulebook and that app, and we'll be back to talk about what I thought in just a little bit. All right, so we are looking at the Chronicles of Crime 2400 rulebook, and cover is nice, big, splashy. It's got a nice little bit of story down here to kind of get you into that cyberpunk world. And then the first thing that we're going to be taking a look at is, we got the setup instructions here with everything nicely laid out, kind of explaining, what's coming in the box as well as how you're going to lay that out for your first time. Right down here, it's going to guide you to that. Yep, you're going to need that app from the Google Play Store or from the App Store. I was easily able to find that. I'm surprised with how they used QR codes in this game, that they didn't just add a couple QR codes right there. But I suppose maybe the links will change. So there's a whole lot of reasons why they might not have done that. But it just seemed weird to me that, in the card examples and stuff like that, they all have QR codes on them. So it would have been nice to just do that instead of having to do that extra typing, but that's just a minor complaint here. So everything is laid out really great on these pages to get you set up. And then after you get everything set up, this is almost you don't need to use the rule book at all once you get the app set up there, because it really does a good job of teaching you how to play. Now, looking at a page like this, if you have ADHD, it's a bit of a wall of text that can inhibit someone trying to learn the game. But once you've gone over the tutorial in the app itself, it's really easy to kind of figure out what you're going to be doing here. So we got credits. Normally on the back page, I would ding a game if it doesn't have like a rules flow or some kind of tutorial on how you're playing each round, but there's no need because of the app here. So I'm just going to slide this over. Don't worry, I'm not going to ruin anything, but everything within the app itself, it in this tutorial just kind of walks you through really easily. You got about 16 clicks to get through before you're playing, but everything is really well laid out of how you're going to get this information just to set up that initial game and get you running. And that's what this tutorial is really good at. Kind of explaining how these different things work. But yeah, I thought the app worked really well. Once you get in there, I'm not gonna show you how it looks once you start playing the actual game, just because I'm sure there's some people that want to figure everything out for themselves. But once again, within the app here, you're gonna hold and scan for that, but it doesn't really work that great on my iPad just because I've got this old crappy cover. So, but yeah, that's the app here and the rulebook for Chronicles of Crime 2400. I'm going to go back to where I was before, and let's talk about what I thought. So there we have it. Yep, I'm cosplaying as Fat Elvis in space right now. So that is Chronicles of Crime 2400. I'm just going to go over here a little bit of what I thought of the rulebook, what I thought of the app, how was my experience learning the game through the rulebook, and then also through the app as well. So the layout in the instruction booklet, I think, is good. There's a good amount of visual representation, but there were some areas of just walls of text that, I know the app walks you through a lot of that, but someone with ADHD might see that and think, oh, that's going to be a little bit too much, but not too bad. The app itself does a really good job of walking you through some of those harder to find concepts within the game. One of the things I found that was kind of tricky about it, like learning the game, is if only you're on one app, which for something like this, I might recommend using an iPad or something like a bigger tablet than a phone. Because if you're trying to set one phone, kind of between my wife and I, we were learning the game at the same time. Using one device was kind of tricky. I mean, usually there's one rule book, so I mean, that's not a terrible ding on the game by any means, or the presentation of the rules, but it did make for a little bit of, trying to, okay, I'm doing this and you're doing that. But, if one person's just kind of going to be in charge of learning the rules, I think having a phone worked fine. I was able to do a solo mode, teaching myself after I did that first tutorial mission that we took a look at. So I was able to learn the solo mode for it. In fact, I almost think a game like this works better as solo, just because of how you're using your phone and how you're using the technology along with it. So I'm going to give that a positive, just in terms of how they presented the rules to you. It made sense in the app. It makes sense on the page as well. If you did have a question about anything, you can easily find it within the rulebook, and that's always helpful. But the app does a really good job of kind of walking you through each of those as well. There's no turn layout, like on the back for like a player guide. But once again, this game doesn't really have turns. It's less of a turn-based game and more of you're racing against time in the game, and actions that you're doing will affect that. So there is no set instructions on what a turn looks like, because a turn's always going to be different. So no need for a player aid there. The app is almost kind of an ongoing player aid. So I thought that was a benefit as well. So the only couple dings that I found, and I think this is just part of the game that makes it the challenge, is if you miss one of the instructions of a location or a character card that should be coming into the game, you can really be a couple turns out and really have a hard time knowing where you're supposed to be. So it would be nice if it was a little more clear sometimes when a new card is coming out, like if it was in yellow or something like that would kind of help some of that, where you're like looking at things and you think you've got the number 13 card out, but you've got the 18 card out. So having something that would draw your attention that, hey, this is a new card that you're adding to the tableau is beneficial, because I did find myself having to go back in the history button that I showed you and just saying, all right, I know I should be finding more. And every time that's kind of happened where I'm like, oh, I missed this card that was supposed to come out, and that would help my investigation there. But that would be the only thing, is I did find myself getting stuck a couple of times, just not knowing that I had to put out a card to guide myself to the next step. So my final critique here is, did I have to use Rodney Smith from Watch It Played? And no, I didn't. With the way the app is laid out and how everything is kind of broadcast to you through that app and through the setup instructions in here, I was able to figure out the game. I was able to teach it really quickly to my wife, and then bring it to the table for myself to teach the game solo, which is my preferred way of doing this game, I think. Just kind of how, especially if you're using like a small screen like a phone, it's kind of easier for yourself. So my prognosis for Chronicles of Crime 2400 is alive and well with a little bit of cybernetic upgrades. So yeah, it's going to get a thumbs up for me. Easy to teach, easy to learn. So thanks a lot for coming down to Rulebook RX. Once again, I'm Dee, and yeah, I'm going to be taking a look at more rule books and more of that in the future. So if you like something like this, I know it's kind of niche, go ahead, like and subscribe. If you have any questions, or if there's anything I missed, just add in the comments down below, and hopefully I'll get down to those. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.